you know? LittleBigPlanet began as a game called Craft World. LittleBigPlanet's developer, Media Molecule, was founded by ex-Lionhead Studios employees, and Craft World was their first project together. Craft World was similar to LittleBigPlanet in that it was a side-scrolling platformer with physics-based puzzles, though its art style was very different from the game it would become. The title's controls were partly inspired by a game the team made back at Lionhead called Ragdoll Kung Fu. Craft World was unique, however, in that the player only used analog sticks to move. The left stick controlled the main character's feet, and the right stick controlled their hands in order to do things like jump, grab, push, pull, and swim. From the very beginning, the option for players to create and share levels was the core of Craft World. When the time came to pitch Craft World to a publisher, however, Media Molecule downplayed the creation aspect, as they were unsure if it was a good fit for a console game. Contrary to these concerns, the idea was very well received, and Sony agreed to fund the game's development for 6 months. Sony eventually asked to publish and further fund the game in exchange for PlayStation exclusivity and the ownership of the franchise. The game's protagonist was originally a simplistic character named Mr. Yellowhead, but as full development began, Craft World underwent drastic changes. The character went through several redesigns, leading to a group of characters called Craftlings, who would eventually become LittleBigPlanet's Sack People. Despite being replaced, Mr. Yellowhead would live on in the form of an unlockable costume in LittleBigPlanet. Some pieces of concept art reveal other early costume ideas, including ones based on the Prince from Katamari and even Mario. The game was also planned to have 3-dimensional gameplay rather than simply traveling from left to right. However, this less restrictive design actually made development more difficult. The game didn't come together until the team focused their efforts on layer-based side-scrolling gameplay seen in the finished product. LittleBigPlanet was initially set to launch in mid-October of 2008, but the game ended up being delayed just days before its release. This was after Sony Europe received a report that one of the game's tracks, titled Tapa Nyong, contained lyrics from the Quran. After being contacted by a displeased Muslim group, Sony chose to delay the game so they could address this issue. This was a tough call to make, as the game had already been shipped to retailers at this point. Many copies of the game had to be recalled and replaced with an updated version that had the potentially offensive lyrics removed. The track was kept in the game, but it was replaced with an instrumental version of the song. Sony also released an online patch for players that managed to get an early copy of the game. Any serious backlash was avoided, but some criticized Sony for complying. Zuhdi Jasser, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, told Edge magazine that Sony's willingness to bend on the issue went against freedom of speech. As a series focused on customization with a vast array of features, the LittleBigPlanet games inherently come with a large amount of unused content. While the final version of the first LittleBigPlanet includes 8 playable themes, remnants in the game's data indicate that there were at least 4 more themes that didn't make the cut. These themes were called English Seaside, Russian Theater, American Midwest Train, and Japanese Window. Little is known about these themes, as almost all of their assets were completely removed, but the ambient noise track from each theme can still be found in the game's files. In addition, parts of an English Seaside level can be seen in early gameplay trailers. The background music tracks for these 4 unused themes were later released as downloadable content in the Music Pack and Monster Pack. LittleBigPlanet also contains an unused hazard known as the Frieza Tron. A working version of the hazard can be seen in a pre-release build of the game. When the Frieza Tron is touched, Sackboy is frozen in a block of ice, which the player would have to break by shaking the controller. While the hazard did technically work in-game, it created problems during networked play and was even seen to cause slowdown during single-player mode. It's possible to put the Frieza Tron in the player's menu via hacking, though there are no means of actually using it. Other bits of leftover content include a creature called a walker, a springboard that has functional physics but an unfinished model, a radio tower, and a dab of glue that was meant to be used as a tool for sticking objects together. There's also a plastic egg that was originally used to hold prizes before being replaced by prize bubbles. As a possible holdover from when the egg was still part of the game, collecting all the prizes in a level will cause the sound of a rooster crowing to play. Perhaps the most unusual leftover from development is a picture of actor Arnold Schwarzenegger from the movie Total Recall that was used as a placeholder preview image. Several unused costumes can be found in the game's data. One of these is a costume based on the famous motorcycle stunt performer Evel Knievel, which can be seen in early screenshots of the game. Other unused costumes include a Bumblebee, which was intended to be part of the Design a Sackboy DLC pack, and a movie director costume including a black beret and clapperboard that was likely meant to be part of a video making contest. The game also contains pieces for costumes based on the Big Daddy from BioShock, Ratchet and Clank, and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. While these costumes were not used in Little Big Planet, they would be made available in the game's sequel with some slight redesigns. The Game of the Year edition of Little Big Planet also contains information relating to a Parappa the Rapper costume, though there are no actual assets for it in any version of the game. There are a number of assets and data strings from early versions of Little Big Planet 2 that are also present in the first game, which could mean that this content was planned to be part of an expansion for the original Little Big Planet. Additionally, Little Big Planet 2 contains voice clips from an early version of the story mode. The clips have different voice actors than the final version, possibly for placeholder purposes, and reveal that the story's villain was originally not going to be the Negativitron, but instead Avalon. Little Big Planet 3 has unused voice clips as well. They appear to correspond to Little Big Planet Hub, a free-to-play game that was announced in 2013 and scheduled for release later that year. Hub would have included a limited selection of playable content from Little Big Planet 1 and 2, as well as compatibility for DLC from other games in the series. The game was confirmed to still be in development as of 2014, but has not been mentioned since, and appears to be cancelled. The Seaside Surprise level kit released for Little Big Planet 3 contains content that was meant to be exclusive to Hub, suggesting that work done for Hub may have been rolled into the later Little Big Planet 3. Did you also know that the symbols on the original PlayStation controller actually have a meaning behind them? Or that the white towers seen in the PlayStation 2 startup animation represent save data from the user's memory card? For more PlayStation facts, click the annotation on screen.
And hey, what's up guys, this is Lee from Arcadia. I don't really have a new video to plug right now, but you can check out Naveed's latest video, Forgotten Nintendo Games. This is the same sort of content you're gonna get from any of us at Arcadia, and I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.